Hey troops, welcome to the channel, Dit Commando. My name's Ryan, a former Royal Marines commando from the United Kingdom. Today we're reacting to a video titled "The Giant Who Killed Chinese Troops with His Bare Hands." Yeah, I don't know. I literally don't have a clue what this one is going to be like. I haven't even watched even a little bit of it. So this is going to be a pure reaction, guys. So like, share, and subscribe. Let's get straight into it.
It's June 1952. A United States Army battalion leave under the cover of night for the mountains of South Korea, somewhere near the Minari-gol, where a force of the Chinese People's Volunteer Army, or PVA, are operating. The battalion's mission is to capture some Chinese soldiers for interrogation, but one platoon is tasked with assaulting a specific enemy position, a barren, trench-woven hill known by the US Armed Forces in Korea as Hill 499. A 2-meter, 110-kilogram Mormon field medic by the name of Bleak volunteers to go with the platoon.
Right. He's 2 meters tall, 110 kilograms, and his name is Bleak. It doesn't sound too good, this, does it?
And the unit will be glad that he did. The Chinese, not so much.
Imagine being killed by Bleak. Right, let's fast forward this bit.
We delve into the story of David Bruce Bleak, a beast of a man and an American hero. As is customary, let's begin at the start, when Bleak climbed down Jack's beanstalk and entered our fragile world. David Bruce Bleak was born into a farming community in Idaho Falls on the 27th of February 1932, and was the 7th of his parents' 9 children, and judging by the size of David, his mother has well and truly earned our sympathy. Bleak made it to high school before he dropped out of school, opting to work as a farmer, rancher, and then railroad worker instead. But he ultimately got bored and massive. When he was old enough, Bleak joined the army, beginning his
What did you do? Well, I got bored and I got massive as well.
Basic training in November 1950 at just 18 years of age at Fort Riley in Kansas. Putting Hodor to shame with his physicality, Bleak was chosen to become a medic. You might think this was a waste of his might, but Bleak sums it up well. The medic has to be able to pack the wounded soldiers out, and he looked like a guy who was strong enough to do it. Yeah. They were right, it was a good call. When he completed his medical training, he was attached to the 2nd Battalion of the 223rd Infantry Regiment of the US Army's 40th Infantry Division.
Wow.
It was January 1952 and the Korean War had been raging for a while now, so Korea was where they sent him. It's unclear what Bleak got up to in the first several months of his deployment, but he was quickly promoted to sergeant, and on the 14th of June, he was clambering up Hill 499 at the rear of a 20-man US platoon, eager to save some lives.
Right, okay, so this is another thing about medics as well, guys. You can't just say, I'll do that course. You've got to be a certain type of individual. You've also got to be a real good soldier, all right? Because you're putting yourself in harm's way. And to be a good medic, you've actually got to have a bit of a brain in between your ears, okay? You've got to be quite smart. It's especially on the battlefield, you've got to have certain qualities, you know? You've got to have empathy. You've also got to be brave, courageous. You've got to be physically fit because of the weight you're carrying. You've got to be all of those things encompassed into one, okay? And it's not easy, trust me.
What he might not have known is that he would soon be ending some lives too. Soon after the 20-man platoon begins climbing Hill 499, their early morning exercise is spoiled by a volley of Chinese automatic weapons fire. The American soldiers higher up the hill drop to the earth, either hit or scrambling for cover. Higher up the hill is a network of Chinese trenches, from which the PVA troops now fire at will.
Wow.
Sergeant Bleak keeps his cool though, rushing forward to stabilize his wounded comrades. Men's screams are drowned out by exploding cartridges. Blood dribbles over Bleak's massive hands. But it's not his own. With a dexterity unbefitting to his stature, he staunches the bleeding, then lumbers up the hill with the rest of the unit, which is making at least some ground. Like meerkats from their burrows, several Chinese soldiers peep out of a nearby trench and gun down a US soldier right next to Bleak.
See, this is another thing. Having balls of steel. He's under contact. He's a medic. He's not a fighting soldier per se, but he will have the ability to fight. Although it's not initially going to be expected of him. He's there to preserve life, not necessarily take it. Although he's capable of it, you know. But seeing your friends drop down dead in front of you, point blank range, what must that do? That's going to test your character to an unbelievable level. An unbelievable level. My heart goes out to all of these fantastic warriors.
He's stayed relatively cool to this point, but now a rage swells through Bleak, and all he sees is red. Roaring, he launches his full 110 kilos into the Chinese trench, tackling one Chinese soldier to the ground and then wringing his neck like a roll of bubble wrap, pops and all. Before another Chinese soldier can react, Bleak shuts his hand on the soldier's throat, turning his windpipe into a fleshy ribbon.
Wow.
The next man, Bleak straight up skewers with his combat knife. Having opened the way for the platoon, Bleak returns to tend to the wounded, and as he's doing so, a hand grenade literally bounces off the top of his helmet, landing on the ground next to him and the friendly soldier beside him. Thinking fast, Bleak spear tackles the soldier, then throws his body over the soldier, protecting him from what they would quickly realize was a concussion grenade.
That is...
Due to Bleak's fearless Hulk charge, the platoon soon makes it to the top of the hill, capturing...
This guy's a legend. He is a legend. I've heard stories about people throwing themselves on grenades to protect their oppos, their comrades before. Very, very specific type of person does that. We're talking about bravery, that unrivaled bravery. Not everyone is like this, guys. And I've said again, I say this humbly, I don't know if I'm that guy. I don't know, amidst all of the training, X, Y, Z, I can't sit here and say, yeah, I'd be that guy, because I just don't think I would. That takes a special, special character.
Capturing a key feature of the surrounding terrain. As Bleak is moving back down the hill, several Chinese soldiers, whom the platoon had unfortunately missed, open fire from a nearby trench. 3 men go down, and as Bleak tries to run to their aid, his leg explodes with pain, a bullet having sunken into it. But this beast won't go down so easily. After tending to the man's wounds, as well as his own, he lifts one of the more wounded men and begins carrying him down the hill to safety.
What an incredible man.
At this point, 2 more enemy soldiers appear. Sighing, Bleak puts his friend down, then, once again, rushes the Chinese. Reaching before they can react, he takes one of their heads in each of his hands, then claps their heads together, ending both of their lives.
What?
Picking up his wounded comrade, Bleak descends the
Wow. Think about the strength you've got. I mean, it's a horrible thing to think about, isn't it? But the sheer strength, aggression, and purpose that you must have to deliver such a fatal blow. This guy must have truly been a monster in stature.
remainder of Hill 499, having well and truly saved the day. After the savagery which took place on Hill 499, Bleak spent some time in hospital where he learned that he'd suffered nerve damage as a result of his leg wound. Less than a month later, he was back in the thick of it, saving lives, but he didn't stay in Korea for all that long. He served in Japan next, and a few months after the Korean War came to an end, he received a Medal of Honor from US President Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Whoa. So this dude got a Medal of Honor. Respect. Nothing but sheer, ultimate respect for our wonderful warrior brother.
Retired at the rank of Staff Sergeant. The citation is great. In part, it read, "Forging up the rugged slope, the group was subjected to intense fire and suffered several casualties. After administering to the wounded, he continued to advance with the patrol, nearing the military crest of the hill. While attempting to cross the fire-swept area to attend to the wounded, Sergeant Bleak came under hostile fire from a group of the enemy concealed in a trench. Entering the trench, he closed with the enemy, killed 2 with his bare hands and a 3rd with his trench knife. Later, he was struck by a hostile bullet, but despite the wound, he undertook to evacuate a wounded comrade. As he moved down the hill with his heavy burden, he was attacked by 2 enemy soldiers with fixed bayonets.
Wow.
Closing with the aggressors, he grabbed them and smacked their heads together. Bleek's Medal of Honor lives at the Idaho Military History Museum, but it was one of the many awards he received, with the Purple Heart and the Republic of Korea
Beautiful.
Presidential Unit
Beautiful.
Citation being among the others. After leaving the military, Bleek moved to Wyoming and took up a range of different jobs. He drove trucks, cut meat, and even returned to ranch work for a bit. An obvious stud, Bleek got married and had a litter of kids. In his mid-30s, Bleek moved back to Idaho and ran a dairy farm for a decade, then worked in an engineering lab as a janitor and technician in the 90s.
Wow.
In March 2006, having suffered from emphysema and a few other diseases and injuries for some time, Bleek's life came to an end. It has been said that he was a humble man who never spoke to his children about the war,
Wow.
despite Bleek being one of the all-time greatest war heroes. But as always, we want to know what you think.
Hey, so that's a common theme with these Medal of Honor recipients, the Victoria Cross recipients, true heroes. They have nothing to brag about, and normally their stories go untold, especially to their family. It just shows the type of people they are, the individuals they are. They do these things without ego. All right, there's no ego attached to it, and I believe actually the only way you can really reach that level of courage, and desire and ability to reach those heights in that capacity in those situations, you can't be egotistical, because people with egos don't do courageous things. Not as courageous as that, I may add. Okay, and true humbleness allows you to be this way, and my respects to them, any Medal of Honor recipient. What a nice man, what a legend. We need to remember these people. Hopefully these reaction videos can pay homage to that. And please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, guys. Have a wonderful day. Peace.